Hi everyone, it's Nancy here, back with another process video for you. Here I am just going through my supplies, again trying to use some of the Alison Craft line, and then I'm using a bit of paper. I think it's from, it's the Chalk Studios. I can't remember who by. I think it's My Mind's Eye. I'm really sorry, I should really check that, but I like the background. It's kind of a mottled kind of water colour effect. And the pictures I'm going to be using are of a crop that I go to. And the picture was taken by the lady who actually runs the crop. So it's quite a sort of a yellowy sort of tone picture. So I decided that kind of muted colour background goes quite well. That piece of paper is from Alison Craft's first collection for Webster's Pages, and it's a photo of lots of different chalk pastels. I've kept it and didn't know what I was actually going to use it. I actually really struggled to use it on this layout as well. I'm trying to use my scraps, as you can see, that are beside me. I had the 6x6 pack of those Webster's Pages papers. They've just been sitting in my stash doing nothing. This is a My Mind's Eye piece of paper, and it's kind of like one that already looks layered. I really try to use this on this layout, but I just can't get it to work. I'm moving it around and moving it around and just can't get it. I turn the paper over to see if that works. I then look at changing the background paper, changing out the layers. As I say, I really struggle with this layout, but I'm determined to use that piece of paper up. So I decided that piece of paper is not going to work. I then go through my scraps pile here. They are some more of the new Alison Craft collection. So again, I'm just looking at layering those up. I decided that it needs another border. I mounted that photo on a sort of black colour. It's got a very small chevron on, but I'm then using this one. And again, that's a photo kind of a ceiling, plaster ceiling. I then remember that I had this gold piece of fabric. I got it in a quirky kit, which is one of the UK kit clubs I belong to, and I hadn't used it, but I thought, as I'm going for kind of more of an artsy kind of look on this page, because it's about me actually at the crop crafting, I decided to go with that. I then pull out this gold doily, which was from the Studio Calico kit. I say it's one that I've been coveting. I then decide that actually I would like to use the bag as well. So it's one of those glassine bags, so I'm just crumpling that up to add another layer on top of the fabric. Excuse me. I fuss a lot with this layout. Moving bits around, trying to decide where I want my cluster. As I say, I really wanted some of that sort of pastel paper to show a bit more. I then take this kind of bleached wood panel effect, so start a cluster to the side of the photo there. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put my title and things when I'm doing this, so I'm just adding little clusters up and around. These are these little tags that keep getting out for each layout, and they never quite make it onto one. I do think one of them actually makes it onto this layout. So I'm quite happy with how my layers are looking so I'm just sticking those all down on top of each other. Annoyingly, I rip that gold doily. As I said, I only had 2 that came in the kit, so I'm really annoyed, but I do manage to kind of just stick it back on, so that's not a problem. Okay, so then I decide that I need to add to this background, even though there's kind of the watercolour effect around the outside. So I'm just adding my Route 66 mist, and then adding some Dylusions white mist. I'm actually getting it sort of drip down a little bit there. As I say, as the background was already quite sort of splodged effect anyway, this kind of was me just adding. I then chucked some gold on top as well. Here I am just running off to plug my heat gun in. So yep, just drying that up. As I say, that white does take a lot longer to dry. I really should have cut some of this out, I do apologise. As I say, as I'm still not 100% sure where my photo is going to go, I just end up taking some of that off anyway. So here I am, look at adding my cluster back on. I've just added a couple of the offcuts from the back of the photo to the top and bottom of the cluster just to extend it out. This is then a one of the old Studio Calico background stamps. This is kind of a newsprint effect, and I'm actually using the Hero Arts ink, shadow inks. I was having a bit of a problem with some of the Stampin' Up inks I'd used, and Tuesday Hubbard, who is on YouTube and also on the Nicole Jones 911 Facebook page, recommended that I try using these, and I had a couple in my stash, so I got them out for this layout. I know lots of people say that they kind of fade in a lot better, so I just used Tide Pool, I think the one I got, and then this is Wet Cement, and again that's a Studio Calico sort of map print. So again, that's just added some interest to the background. Here I am taking out some of the Scraptastic stamps. I like the fact that it's optional whether you buy the stamps, and I really like this stamp set because it had ink splotches on and it also had sequins, but I think I got this in August or September and still in packet, never used, so I just took out the ink spots and actually did use some of the Stampin' Up ink here just to add again that to the background clusters. Sorry about that. So yeah, I decided that I'm going to place my cluster up there, and because I've got that fabric as the background, I use some of the glue as well as some of the ATG, and then I add that little bit of doily that came off, and you can't really see it in real life, so that's okay. So just chopping up here to make my clusters. Just adding that Alison Craft paper to the top and bottom there, so it's offcuts from the photo mats. And here's this tag. I think that tag is from Maya Road, I think, or it might be Prima. But I got a couple in a Quirky kit. The same kit I actually got that fabric in. So here I am just going through my scraps again, trying to work out if I want to add any of these. As I said, this layout actually took me nearly an hour and a half, which is ridiculous. I don't normally spend that long on a layout, and to be fair, at the end it doesn't look like I've spent that long on it. So I think I just struggled with that background paper, but I was determined to use that. So here I am just going through some of my Project Life cards, just trying to work out if I want to add any of these to the clusters. I end up taking out one of these wood veneer cards. I think these are from Twine and Ink or Twine and Tape. I actually saw them on Instagram, so I can't quite remember where they're from, but this one says Craft Therapy, so I thought it was quite appropriate. So I'm just trying to work out where I'm going to add that into the cluster. And say, because I already had issues with that doily, just trying to move that. This transparency I struggle with and struggle with and struggle with I don't know, I just find they never fit my photos, and I try to use them as layering pieces and they just don't work. I fuss about with this one for far too long. Because it's out on my desk, I'm just trying to get it on a layout, but it really doesn't work. I think it's the black edging, and here you'll see I'm just cutting across on that wood veneer card just to take off those rounded edges, because as I've mentioned before, sometimes the rounded edges just distract, I think, because a lot of my layers are quite square. Well, not quite square, they are square corners. So then these are some pieces from an old cut apart sheet, and these have been in my stash for a year and a half. I can't actually remember what paper range this was. I don't know if it was a Prima range. I really can't remember. I just saw it at the crop I go to. We have a little shop there from one of the local retailers, and I saw that piece of paper there and I bought it, and to be fair, I really struggled to ever use it, so I'm determined to just use those, some of the sort of ink spot sort of background. It goes quite well with the sort of background paper, the kind of artsy look that I'm going for. Still fussing with getting that wood veneer card stuck down. I'm working out if I'm going to add this on anywhere. Lots of fussing around. I then actually end up using the other side of that paper that I cut off there. So I just end up ripping that up and sticking that down just to add another cluster to that side. Here I am sort of turning up some of the edges to add a little bit of texture. I actually have a bit of an issue when I dry this layout later on. My heat gun gets a little bit too close to that fabric and it kind of frazzles the edge up a little bit. There you can see I actually get that little canvas tag on to add that under the tag there, well, the wood veneer, sorry. This is then a Studio Calico washi tape. Again, it's one I got in one of the grab bags. And it actually has the alphabet on, but it's a pale pink, and so the colours went quite well with the background. So I just add that into my clusters just to add another texture. Again, I'm having issues because where I had to stick that dolly down where it broke, it doesn't want to fit on very well, but I'm just adding a tiny little piece into each of the clusters. I'm going through different things I've got sitting on my desk there. So here I am just adding some more ink, just to add sort of the artistic background. Just going through some wood veneers that I've got laying out. I'm just going through my embellishment bag here. This is taking out a lot of the Scraptastic wood veneers. This is something I think I got in a Scraptastic kit, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was one of the Studio Calicons and it says make, and with the gold on. I did try to get to work, but it was just the wrong shape, so I don't end up using that. And then pull out a tag. Again, just kind of seeing what else I can chuck on this layout. I then end up pulling out a couple of arrows. And then these are some darker wood veneers. Because the craft therapy on that other wood veneer card is darker, I decided that I want to pull out some of the darker wood veneer. So I pull out these stars to start with. And then here I'm going for my other wood veneers. Just take out my letter stickers to go through to see if I want to use any of those. Taking another transparency because I didn't have enough problems the last time. But saying that one doesn't actually fit my photo, so I take out these are from Paperchase, which is a sort of stationery store over here in the UK, and these are like little post-it notes, sort of index tab markers, and these are actually vellum So I actually got them just, you know, for scrapbooking purposes a few, probably 2-3 months ago, and they've just sat there. So I actually do use those in a couple of clusters. So I'm just sticking the arrows on there, and as I said, I've then got the wood veneer stars as well. Because I've already got the gold doily and the gold stars, I then take out again these very old gold foil stickers. These have been in my stash for quite a while. So again, I'm just adding a star, a gold star to each of the clusters. So just to bring that golden. My camera started to tip over there. This is why my hand went out to grab it. Not quite sure what I'm doing here. I'm looking for my stamp set. This is a stamp set again from Paperchase. I really love it. It's kind of a hand-drawn kind of doodle font. And I'm just using that wet cement ink there from Hero Arts. And I'm just putting my title at the bottom. I'm not sure if I like it. But I think it maybe fades a little bit too much into the background. But I decided to go with it. Maybe, you know, I placed it wrong. Maybe it should have been placed a little bit over to the side. But I'm then using the Dear Lizzie and Amy Tangerine roller phrase stamps. And again, I'm just using the wet cement ink there to add that. And then again, I think I'm just looking for another ink here. Yeah, and I pull out my gold ink pad. So it's use that to stamp around my title and cluster. I think it adds, just to say, picks up the gold that's in the rest of the layout. So it's adding some more white ink around as well. I just want to say thank you very much for watching this video. So it's a little bit different to some of my other layouts. I will put some photos on at the ends. You can see here I'm just adding some little of the Prima Gems just to finish it up. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with some more process videos later this week. Thank you very much. Bye.